to understand that's their world. That really is a hard day for them. So God works on me, saying, wait a minute now. You know, that really was a hard day for them. You can, if you evaluate the cultures as a whole, then, of course, America looks selfish and rude. But that's their polluted water. They're in as much tragedy and trouble, they just don't know it, as the rest of the world. That's what, you know, even what Pastor Scott was saying, blessed are the poor. They get it. You know, you have to convince a person in Africa they need God. They get it. Now, where did I learn this? When I was mentally ill and went to the hospital and then came out because Jesus healed me physically, I now was emotionally a disaster. I was very, very damaged in the pollution. And so when I went to the church, they said, you know what, we don't want you to come back. They broke the relationship because your performance isn't good, so we don't desire you, so we need you to go away. And so I went, and I didn't have any friends. I had no friends, my mother and my dog, you know, that was it. And I wanted to go back to the mental institution because it hurt so bad. You see, I was number 7. So they locked me up, and when I came out, I was invaluable, even to the church. And so my mom said, no, you need to go talk to God. So God began to work with me, and I began to study the Bible, and this is what I saw. And he said, now listen, you're going to start to get where people want to be with you again. Really? Yeah. And he showed me this was why. Your performance is getting healthier, and so they are going to like you again. And so they're going to want to be with you. And then what they're going to do is they're going to give you 3 lists. Don't do the list. Don't you undo the blessing of you being not wanted. It is exactly what Pastor Scott was saying. I was in poverty, and I knew it. He said, so don't try to get out quickly by taking the list now. You stay. All I had was this. There's people that are going to want this with you, but they're going to give you a list. Don't take it. So I said, well, what does the list look like? He said, well, the first list is a to-do list, how you can perform things that they want. And then when they want that, they'll want you. And I was shocked. I said, well, not people that know you. Yeah, that's why they didn't want you to stay in the church. I was shocked. So I just decided to check it out, and I started listening. Sure enough, what do you do for a living? I don't have a job. Oh. You feel icky. You know, shouldn't you lose weight? Pretty soon, write down the list. And I thought, I don't want it. That is so ugly. You know, have you ever wondered why I hate speaking? It's not difficult. Does this look hard for me? I've got so many notes out, you know? It's because when people see the ability, they now want to be my friend. I can walk in a church, and I'm just the dumb, short, fat woman from Oregon. But I tell you what, I get up and speak, and now they line up and want to talk. What do you think I see in the church? And my heart is broken because I see a lot of work for the pastor. If that's where people are at, he's got a lot of work in front of him, because the pastor's assignment is to prepare God's people to come into the pure water. And it's a hard job, because this is very, very difficult to let go of. That's why I hate speaking. So the Lord said, don't you develop the list. You don't go there. Then the second list has only 3 attributes. Okay? It has to do with pride, selfishness, and rebellion. What does that mean? This is the things you don't do. These are the things that are unacceptable. Everything you shouldn't do. Think of something, we won't call on you. Think of something you know you shouldn't do, and when you have it, raise your hand. Something that you do that you know you shouldn't do. Do you have something, Rick? I need to know. I want everybody involved in this exercise. I'm not trying to be rude. Okay? It's attached to one of these. Connect it up. Why do you do it? Who are you serving? And are you in agreement with God, or are you sure you're right? Or you may not have pride. You may say, no, God's right, but I still do it. You see what I'm saying? It will be attached to here. These are the don't do. The reason I don't have a list is it'd be a million things long. Everything done would be on it if it's not done in the right heart. So you can't build that list. It's down to 3 categories that you fall under. And you take the 3 categories, and there's 1. So the things that you do when you're thinking about yourself are the things you don't do. Now, some of the don't do's are socially acceptable, and some are not. And this is one of the things that I think is very unfair. Okay, so they locked me up. I tried to kill people. But, you gossip. Why don't they lock you up? Because that's socially acceptable. That's okay. Murdering people isn't. Well, that sounds funny until we start to add up in the Christian lists. See, Christianity has her own set of lists. We have the culture's lists, and we have our lists. And they're a little different, but they're really not that much different. They just sound better. Okay, we couldn't say pride, selfishness, or rebellion. Heavens, no, because that sounds terrible. But it's just, this is where I'm at. So we color code it. Or we deny it. No, I don't do that, not me. And there's some sins like divorce, smoking, drinking, that's just not acceptable. Pornography. Oh, boy. But it's amazing? As I'm traveling and I'm getting a lot of people coming to me, the biggest area of dysfunction is pornography. Yet nobody in the room would ever want to admit to it. It's just the most amazing thing. I was in Holland recently, and I was in a big group of people, and we did an exercise where the pastor then said, how many want to confess something that you'd really like to confess? And I was like, no, you can't go there, you can't in a room do that. And I'm wanting to time out. And he said, so Beth has taught me that you can't trust everyone. So Beth will be sitting here, and if you want an appointment, you can go sit with... Jeez. And, there were about 40 people, and all but 3 of them, it was pornography. Now, nobody knew that about each other, so I went in and I said, isn't pornography bad? I thought, oh, how sad. What a lie is going on in this room. Because the problem with this list for the Christian is it produces shame. On one side, it's selfish, and those are the people that say, I don't care in the world, I'm doing it because I like it. And on the other side, it's shame. Both of those are ugly. The top list, it produces pride and pride. It's really kind of funny. False pride and ugly pride, okay? That's what performance produces. Desire produces selfishness and shame. That's the motivation of it, okay? And so this list for Christians almost always, for the world